Now you found Paul Daddy's BlindHawg Barbecue, and today we're going to be discussing the 4-2-10 brisket method. I made a few adjustments to the process that I think you're really going to like. The 4-2-10 is to brisket what the 3-2-1 method is to ribs. It's using a simple formula to create some delicious barbecue. It's based mainly on cook times and the pit temperatures. Now, the 4-2-10 method has been used by barbecue restaurants, and it's a great starting point for someone who wants to cook some delicious barbecue, but you just don't want to commit the rest of your life to learning how to do it. The 4-2-10 brisket method can make you look like a seasoned pit master, even if it's your first rodeo. The 4-2-10 method, as I've learned it, it requires that the brisket smoked at 4 hours for 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you raise that temperature up to 285 degrees Fahrenheit for the next 2 hours. And then finally, you wrap up the brisket and you hold it for another 10 hours at 150 degrees Fahrenheit. I've taken that and I've made what I consider some necessary adjustments to the process, and we'll explain those changes as we cook this brisket. So I'm starting out with the select grade Packer brisket. USDA Select's probably the lowest grade that's available in most grocery stores. The art of barbecue started out taking the lowest quality meat available and turning it into something delicious. And that's a skill that you all need if you're gonna learn how to barbecue. We're gonna give it a trim. And if this is your first brisket, then maybe you skip the trim. Maybe you just want to concentrate on the cook. But on this brisket, I'm giving it what I consider a moderate trim. We're gonna shape it up a bit, make it more aerodynamic than what it is. We're gonna target about a 1/4 inch of fat all the way around. And then most of my trimmings are gonna be saved. We're gonna freeze them, and then later on, I'll make sausage out of them. But like I said, you're just now learning how to smoke a brisket. You don't want to get overwhelmed. Well, then you can skip the trim, or maybe just do partial trim, and then you can learn how to trim later. You're still gonna cook a good brisket, just not quite as good. Next, you want to add some binder. After you get it trimmed, you want to add some binder. I'm using Worcestershire sauce for the binder because it adds some savory umami flavor. Now, if you don't have Worcestershire sauce, then you can just spray on some warm water. And note, I said warm, not hot. You want to start with the meat side, and we're going to add the binder and rub it in. And then you give it a coating of barbecue rub. You can use your favorite rub. You can pat that rub in. Now, if you don't have rub, then you can make some using this simple recipe with these household ingredients. Just use 2 parts black pepper, 1 part kosher salt, and 1 part Lowry seasoned salt. And the whole time that you're using this rub, you need to keep shaking it so it'll stay correctly proportioned. And this is really a great rub recipe. Now, flip the brisket over. You want to do the presentation side, the fat side. We're going to be adding binder and then 2 passes of rub on the presentation side. Some people cook fat side down, some people cook fat side up. Now me, I feel strongly both ways. I've done it both ways, and both ways are fine, but I'm currently doing it with the fat side up. And if you insist on fat side down, then go for it. Now, my Yoder YS1500 is warming up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm using B&B Championship blend pellets. Now, the Yoder YS1500 is pretty large for a pellet smoker. It has a cook chamber that's 87 gallons. Now, I'm telling you this because generally speaking, a larger smoker can be more successful at a higher temperature than smaller smokers. So, if your smoker's a little bit smaller than mine, then you may want to consider lowering your cooking temperatures. Maybe you try 225 and then raise it up to 250. Maybe that'll be the sweet spot for you. But the original 4-2-10 brisket method, it calls for putting the drip pan underneath the brisket, so therefore you'd have to cook on the second rack. And this is one of those adjustments that I made. My Yoder cooks a lot faster on the bottom rack than it does on the top rack and putting the drip pan under it. So part of this is because that drip pan can be acting as a heat diffuser. Collecting that liquid will also cool things down a bit because those liquids are absorbing heat too. For this cook, I'm cooking on the bottom rack, the center grate, fat side up. Now, another adjustment that I insist on doing is to add a probe to the brisket. I'm using a ThermalWorks blue dot. And this way you don't have to hope that everything's working out. You'll know for sure it's working out. Now I'm adding a smoke tube, so it'll add some smoky flavor to the cook. And this part's optional. Smoke tube is a stainless steel tube. It's designed to hold wood pellets, and you light those pellets off and then they smolder and they add additional smoky flavor to your cook. Most pellet smokers can be somewhat lacking in the smoky flavor department when you compare them to an offset. So a smoke tube can help with that issue. Fill the tube with pellets, light it off with the torch, let it burn for a couple of minutes, then you blow it out and you place that tube in your smoker. You put it where the meat is positioned between the smoke tube and the smoke stack. Therefore, the smoke has to pass across the meat on the way to going out the stack. And the smoke tube will burn for about 4.5 hours. Now close the door on your smoker and you're gonna smoke at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for the next 4 hours. So your job for those 4 hours is to just maintain that 250 degree temperature. And at the end of the 4 hours, then I'll start turning the brisket about a quarter turn every 30 minutes. And of course, you want to be sure to adjust your temperature up to 285 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, once again, I'm adding some of what I call my improvements to the process. So the big flaw in the 4-2-10 method as it's originally designed is that your brisket may not hit that necessary temperature range of 202 to 205 degrees Fahrenheit. So that range, of course, is debatable because really anywhere between 195 and 210 is probably considered done. The sweet spot's generally considered to be between 202 and 205 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, what do you do if you're not in that temperature range? So my adjustment is we continue to smoke until we hit that range, even if you have to go over your 2-hour time period to get it. So different smokers will produce different results, even if they're cooking at the same temperatures. And of course, each brisket cooks at its own pace. So a true cookie cutter approach to brisket just doesn't consistently work. Now, why does the 3-2-1 formula work for ribs? Well, of course, ribs are smaller, they're probably more uniform, it's much less prone to drying out. The brisket stall is another variable that makes a true formula problematic because brisket, when it gets up to 160 to 165, 175, sometimes it stalls. It stays at that same temperature for a long, long time. Now, all that being said, this cook that I'm doing, it worked out within the parameters of the 4-2-10 method on this particular pellet smoker. So I hit that sweet spot. I was between 202 and 205, and I still had about 10 minutes to go when I got up to about 205 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, like I previously stated, this happened with me cooking on the bottom rack. And if I cooked on the top rack and I had a drip pan underneath that brisket, it would have extended this cook on my Yodel-S 1500 for several hours. I can guarantee that. Now, I'm gonna wrap up the brisket. I'm gonna use butcher paper. And the paper that I'm using is 18 inches wide. And therefore, I need 2 sheets of paper that are spread out enough to accommodate the brisket of this size. So, starting out with 2 sheets of butcher paper, between 36 and 40 inches long. You want to lay them out and adjust them as needed so they can accommodate your brisket. And then we're going to spray that paper with a suitable liquid to make it easier to work with, and it prevents your paper from soaking up all the moisture out of your brisket. And you can spray with water, you can use apple cider vinegar, or you can use beef broth, or you can use a combination of some of that. Now, if you used a drip pan, then place your brisket on the paper and then pour your drippings over the brisket. I didn't capture any drippings, so I'm going to be using a 1/2 cup of Wagyu beef tallow. You can buy that off of Amazon. I'll leave a link for you down below in the video description. Now, once you've done that, you want to wrap it up in the paper. I have a pan that'll hold this brisket. We're going to put a cooling rack in the pan, and then we're going to place the wrapped up brisket in the pan. You want to add liquid, you can use water, you can use soda, you can use beef broth. You want to use between a 1/2 to 1 cup of liquid. Once you got that liquid in, then cover up that pan with foil, wrap it up pretty tight. Now, what if you don't have any butcher paper? What are you going to do? I would just wrap it up in foil. Not exactly the same thing, but it still would work. Now you can finish your brisket using the most efficient heat source. Now a lot of people switch over, they use their oven. I'll be using my Coockshack Amerique electric smoker, and it's gonna be set up using heat only because smoke is just not necessary at this point of the cook because it's all wrapped up. Now we're gonna be holding this brisket for the next 10 hours at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. The original 4210 called for 10 hours at 150 degrees, but 160 may be a preferred temperature because fat renders at 140 degrees Fahrenheit and collagen starts rendering at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Therefore, I think 160 seems to be the most effective holding temperature. Now, if you only learn one thing from this video, it would probably be using that extended holding time to your advantage. You certainly don't have to be using the 4-2-10 method to take advantage of that step. So barbecue joints do this type of extended hold all the time. And I'm not saying they use a pan like I did, but they do hold it for a long time. Now, 16 hours is probably the maximum hold time that I'm vouching for at 160 degrees Fahrenheit because everything has a point of diminishing returns. So if you go past that 16 hours, then you may start to lose some texture. That texture may start breaking down, get a little mushy on you, or you could be experiencing a dry brisket. We don't want either of those things to happen. So I would say don't go past 16 hours on your hold time. All right, guys, let's unwrap this brisket. Let's see how we did. Okay, it certainly probes tender. That fat has been rendered very well. It has a very acceptable smoke ring. So this brisket looks good. It tastes great. Now, the only real criticism I have, there's a few spots on the bottom where that brisket started to get a little crispier than we want. Didn't affect the overall quality, but in a perfect world, we wouldn't have that part. So what would I have done differently that would have improved this process? Well, at the end of the 4-hour cook, if your brisket was at least 160 degrees Fahrenheit, then I would do the wrap in butcher paper there. I'd put that back in the smoker, just wrapped in the paper at 285 degrees, and I'd smoke it until it hits 202 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I would take that wrapped brisket and I would put that in the pan just like we previously described, and I would go ahead with that 10 to 16 hour hold period at 160 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, I think the real beneficial part of the 4-2-10 brisket is the extended hold time. All right, you can probably tell because, well, I've been harping on it, but I believe that hold time gives you a better final product, and it's most certainly a great tool for use for any pitmaster as far as the timing goes for the final presentation of your masterpiece. You can always use that hold time to your advantage and line it up with when you plan to serve that brisket. If you found some useful information in this video, then be sure and hit that like button on your way out. Please consider subscribing, and I hope to see you next time at Paw Daddy's Blind Hog Barbecue.